of your evening tonight. So I really appreciate all of you hopping in, and I think folks are still coming in as we go for this holiday concert. Now, when we were talking about what kind of music we wanted to have, I've done a few Christmas concerts so far, and Agnes, my very sweet contact over there from the Friends, said maybe this time we'll do some more traditional folk songs from all around the world. And I said, that's probably a really great idea. So I've got some holiday songs on here for sure, but by and large, these songs are going to be songs that I have not sung in the last 4 or 5 weeks or so on these Zoom conferences and Facebook Live and so forth. Some of them you'll certainly know, and I would love to have you sing right along. And of course, this is absolutely free. And the Barnegat Friends, like the old Haverford Friends about a month ago, are saying that, you know, if you find it in your heart to give to your local food pantry for the people who are food challenged in our society today, that would be great. And that is all they ask, that you think about that, and if you have the possibility, wonderful. And I think in the chat or somewhere in the messaging, there are a couple of websites that Agnes has suggested that are, I think, more local New Jersey. And so I'm going to start singing, and hopefully you'll like it. How about a few old English songs first? Here we come a-wassailing among the leaves so green. Here we come a-wandering so fair to be seen. Love and joy come to you, and to you your wassail too, and God rest you and give you a happy new year. God give you a happy new year. Wassail, wassail all over the town. The cup it is white and the ale it is brown. The cup it is made of the good ashen tree, just like the malt of the finest barley. Well, here's to broad Mary and to her broad horn. May God grant our master a good crop of corn, a good crop of corn, that we all may see. With the wassailing bowl we'll drink unto thee. And wassail, wassail all over the town. The cup it is white, the ale it is brown. The cup it is made of the good ashen tree, just like the malt of the finest barley. Well, there was an old dog and he had a long tail. This is the night we go singing wassail. Master, oh, this is now we must be gone. Let's all in this house till we come again. All in this house till we come again. God rest ye merry gentlemen, let nothing you dismay. Remember Christ our Savior was born on Christmas Day to save us all from Satan's power when we were gone astray. Tidings of comfort and joy, comfort and joy. Tidings of comfort and joy. From God our Heavenly Father the blessed angel came, and unto certain shepherds brought tidings all the same, that unto Bethlehem was born the Son of God by name. Tidings of comfort and joy, comfort and joy. Tidings of comfort and joy. Praise God our Heavenly Father, all you within this place, and with true love and brotherhood each other now embrace. The holy time of Christmas all anger must erase. Tidings of comfort and joy, comfort and joy. Tidings of comfort and joy, comfort and joy. Tidings of comfort and joy. I wish you all tidings of comfort and joy, even as you're joining in on our concert here tonight. Thanks very much to the Barnegat Friends for giving me a call and inviting me to be part of their evening and a part of your evening too. I've got a bunch of songs, a big song bag that I brought along with you. Some are from England, like those last songs. Some will be from Scotland. Some will be from Ireland. And here's a song, though, that I love. It's from Nova Scotia, Canada. And if you've ever been up there to the Louisbourg Fort, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This song was probably first sung by a soldier stationed in that fort maybe a couple of hundred years ago. And the song is called Farewell to Nova Scotia. Farewell to Nova Scotia, the sea-bound coast. Let your mountains dark and drear I be, when I am far away on the briny ocean toss. Will you ever heave a sigh or a wish for me? The sun was setting in the west. The birds were singing on every tree. All nature seemed inclined for the rest, but still there was no rest for me. Farewell to Nova Scotia, the sea-bound coast. Let your mountains dark and drear I be, when I am far away on the briny ocean tossed. Will you ever heave a sigh or a wish for me? I have two brothers, and they are at rest. Their arms I've folded upon their chest. But a poor simple sailor, just like me, must be tossed and turned in the deep dark sea. Farewell to Nova Scotia, the sea-bound coast. Let your mountains dark and drear I be, when I am far away on the briny ocean tossed. Will you ever heave a sigh or a wish for me? The guns do sound, the drums do alarm. My captain calls, and I must obey. Farewell, farewell to Nova Scotia's charms, for it's early in the morning that I'm bound our way. Farewell to Nova Scotia, the sea-bound coast. Let your mountains dark and drear I be, when I am far away on the briny ocean tossed. Will you ever heave a sigh or a wish for me? Farewell to Nova Scotia, the sea-bound coast. Let your mountains dark and drear I be, when I am far away on the briny ocean tossed. Will you ever heave a sigh or a wish for me? Will you ever heave a sigh or a wish for me? Farewell to Nova Scotia. And of course, Nova Scotia means New Scotland. And I have been singing songs of Scotland just about all my life. And I wasn't going to do this next song for you tonight, but Barbara and Carol joined our happy little group, and they requested this song, and I'm gonna sing it for them. And I'm also going to sing it to all the wonderful Scotophiles who are on the call today, including Mark and Claire, now living way down there in North Carolina, and we miss you way up here in the Mid-Atlantic through New England. This song is a song that takes us back a long, long way. It takes us back to the time of Robert the Bruce and Scotland fighting for her own freedom. She had a very rich, powerful, and populous neighbor to the south. Still does. Currently, they're in union, and they've been in union since the Act of Union in 1707. But for many, many years before that, hundreds of years in fact, Scotland was oftentimes fighting for her own sovereignty. Sovereign after sovereign on both sides were trying to win the day, as it were. Well, Robert the Bruce certainly won the day in 1314. And he was the fellow who carried the mantle of Scottish freedom from William Wallace, who had been executed years before. This song was written by a fellow named, I can't believe I'm forgetting his name, a fellow from the Corries. Ronnie Brown is still with us from the Corries. Roy Williamson wrote this song, requested by Barbara and Carol. And it started off as a folk song, just a simple folk song. These two guys who loved songs of Scottish freedom from across the ages, that's what they sang. And Roy wrote this nice song. Well, all of a sudden, it really picked up. And, you know, with the adrenaline running at the football games, all the footballers were singing this song and their fans were singing it. And then it became kind of an unofficial anthem of Scotland. And I sing this song whenever I'm in concert because it's such a popular song and near and dear in the hearts of all who've been to Scotland, who love Scotland, who are from Scotland, and so it goes on. And this song especially goes out to Barbara and Carol as they requested it, a song called The Flower of Scotland. Oh, flower of Scotland, when will we see your lights again? That fought and died for your wee bit hill and glen and stood against them. Proud Edward's army and sent them homeward, sailing again. Hills are bare now, and autumn leaves lie thick and still. For land that is lost now, which those so dearly held and stood against them. Proud Edward's army and sent them homeward, sailing again. Those days are past now, and in the past they must remain. But we can still rise now and be the nation again that stood against them. Proud Edward's army and sent them homeward, sailing again. Oh, flower of Scotland, when will we see your likes again? That fought and died for your wee bit hill and glen and stood against them. Proud Edward's army and sent them homeward, sailing again, sailing again, sailing again. Song is especially for Barbara and Carol. I miss you two. Haven't seen you in a while. I'm glad you're keeping well. And thank you very much for joining this concert tonight, sponsored by the Barnegat Friends, who simply ask that you might remember those who may be in need this holiday season. This is probably one of the most difficult holiday seasons that we've had, at least in the last 20, 30 years. I don't remember a time more challenging than what we have right now. So many folks out of work, so many kids not sure if they're gonna, even have a decent meal on Christmas Day, and that breaks the hearts of their parents for sure. So if there's anything that you can do to help, that is simply the price of admission. If you think of something that you might be able to do in your area or in New Jersey, that would make the Barnegat Friends very, very happy. This next song that I'd like to sing for you is one that I haven't done in a while. I haven't done it all year, that's for sure, but it takes us now in the first winter of the war to end all wars, World War I. And on the Western Front, On one side of the trenches of no man's land, which was this burned out moonscape of France, you would have the English and you'd have the Scots and you'd have the French over there. And on the other side of all the barbed wire and the splintered trees and the blackened sands of bombed out, formerly farmyards, fields, you would have the Germans and their allies. Now, these were all young men. When they, just 2 years before, they never ever thought they would be facing each other in a place called No Man's Land on the Western Front as the entire world seemed to catch on fire. But believe it or not, there was a Christmas miracle that very first winter of 4 winters that they had from 1914 to 1918. And the song was written by John McCutcheon. The story is well known. And it's when, just for a little while, for a few hours, gentlemen from both sides of those lines put their guns down. They crawled out of their trenches in which they had been living for weeks. They met on what was formerly the field of battle. They exchanged addresses where they could write to each other after the war was done. They took photographs with each other. They played soccer underneath the moonlight. And just for a little while, things almost seemed normal. On the British side, of course, the officers were watching very closely what was going on here. They didn't know what it was, but they were not going to stop it because it seemed beautiful for the moment. But soon enough, everybody had to crawl back to their sides of the fields, and the war began once more the very next morning. John McCutcheon, a wonderful American singer and songwriter and multi-instrumentalist, wrote this song, and it's called Christmas in the Trenches. My name is Francis Tolliver. I come from Liverpool. 2 years ago, the war was waiting for me after school. From Belgium and to Flanders, to Germany to here, I fought for king and country I love dear. 'Twas Christmas in the trenches, where the frost so bitter hung. The frozen fields of France were still, no Christmas songs were sung. Our families back in England were toasting us that day, the brave and glorious lads so far away. I was lying with my messmate on the cold and rocky ground, when across the lines of battle came a most peculiar sound. Says I, now listen up, me boys, each soldier strained to hear, as one young German voice sang out so clear. He's singing bloody well, you know, my partner says to me. Soon one by one each German voice joined in harmony. The cannons rested silent, the gas clouds rolled no more. This Christmas brought us respite from the war. Well, as soon as they were finished and a reverent pause was spent, God rest ye merry gentlemen, struck up some lads from Kent. The next they sang, 'twas Stille Nacht, 'tis silent night, says I. And in 2 songs, 1 song filled up that sky. There's someone coming towards us, the front line sentry cried. All sights were fixed on one lone figure, trudging from their side. His truce flag, like a Christmas star, shone on that plain so bright, as he bravely strode unarmed into the night. Then one by one, on either side, walked into no man's land. With neither gun nor bayonet, we met there hand to hand. We shared some secret brandy, and we wished each other well. And in a flare-lit soccer game, we gave them hell. We traded chocolates, cigarettes, photographs from home. These sons and fathers far away from families of their own. Young Sanders played his squeeze box, and they had a violin. This most curious and unlikely band of men. Soon daylight strode upon us. France was France once more. With fond farewells we each prepared to settle back to war. But the question haunted every heart: who lived that wondrous night? Whose family have I fixed within my sights? 'Twas Christmas in the trenches, where the frost so bitter hung. But the frozen fields of France were warmed as songs of peace were sung. For the walls they built between us to exact the work of war had been crumbled and were gone forevermore. Now my name is Francis Tolliver, in Liverpool I dwell. Each Christmas comes since World War I, I've learned its lessons well. That the ones you call the shots won't be among the dead and lame. And on each end of the rifle, we're the same. A great song, a very thought-provoking song from the pen of John McCutcheon, wonderful multi-instrumentalist singer, obviously a songwriter too. A song called Christmas in the Trenches. If you're just joining us, that song took us to the very first Christmas of World War I. All those young men, so far, far from home, fighting each other, but just for a few hours, there was peace on the Western Front. I'm going to sing you a song now that I love, I dearly love. And this is a song of Christmas, but it talks about all the children all around the world. Anybody who may believe in this reason for the season. Nobody looks alike. We all look so different. We all come from different places, different countries, different homes. We have different ways of looking at the world. We have different ways of wondering what Santa might look like, different ways of wondering what the baby Jesus might look like. I think that almost the whole world over, children think that baby Jesus looks like they do, has their same skin tones, their same eye shapes, their same hair color. And this next song, it's just a beautiful song called Some Children See Him. And I'm going to sing this for you and then go into a Christmas carol. Some children see him, lily white, the baby Jesus born this night. Some children see him, lily white, with tresses soft and fair. Some children see him bronzed and brown, the Lord of heaven to earth come down. Some children see him bronzed and brown, with dark and heavy hair. Some children see him almond-eyed, the Savior whom we kneel beside. Some children see him almond-eyed, with skin of yellow hue. Some children see him dark as they, sweet Mary's son, to whom we pray. Some children see him dark as they, and oh, they love him too. All children in their different place will see the baby Jesus' face like theirs, but full of heavenly grace and beaming holy light. I'll lay aside each earthly thing, and with your heart as offering, I'll kneel beside the newborn King, for love is born this night. I'll lay aside each earthly thing, and with your heart as offering, I'll kneel beside the newborn King, for love is born this night. Angels we have heard on high, singing sweetly o'er the plain, and the mountains in reply, echoing their joyous strain. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Shepherds, why this jubilee? Why your joyful strains prolong? Say, what can the tidings be that inspire your heavenly song? Gloria in excelsis Deo. In excelsis Deo. Come to Bethlehem and see him for whom the angels sing. Come adore on bended knee Christ the Lord, the newborn King. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Two songs of the season for you. Some children see him, and angels we have heard on high. I'd like to sing you an English folk song now, and right after that we're going to do a Scottish folk song, but an English folk song that I think has much to do with Christmas as any song from one perspective, and that is noticing the folks among us in our communities who may not be as well off as you and I might be. And that's one of the reasons the Barnegat Friends has invited all of us here tonight. If you find it in your hearts and you know that there is a food shelter near you, a food pantry or a shelter for people, give to them if you can this holiday season. I know it's tough on everybody. I certainly know that. But they ask that you look within yourself, and if there's something you can do in your community or in the coastal New Jersey area of Barnegat where they live, that is really all they ask. And that's why they've invited me here today, to share that music and also to share the message of all of us being one, especially this time of year, especially when community is probably more important than ever, when forces beyond our control are pulling our communities apart and shutting us all in our homes. We have to remember that there are folks out there who are hurting this holiday season. Ralph McTell is a wonderful writer from England, and in late 60s, I think the song appeared in 1969. He wrote a wonderful song called "The Streets of London." I was in London about 3 years ago again, and honestly, there are parts of London that really have not changed that much since he wrote this song. And if you can imagine in the cold streets near where you live, this song being sung, that's, for some people, their Christmas reality. Have you seen the old man who walks the streets of London, kicking up the papers with his worn out shoes? In his eyes you'll see no pride, and held loosely at his side, yesterday's paper telling yesterday's news. So how can you tell me you're lonely, and you say for you the sun don't shine? Let me take you by the hand and lead you through the streets of London. I'll show you something to make you change your mind. And have you seen the old girl who walks the streets of London? Dirt in her hair and her clothes and rags. She's no time for talking, she just keeps right on walking, carrying her home in 2 carrier bags. So how can you tell me you're lonely, and you say for you the sun don't shine? Let me take you by the hand and lead you through the streets of London. I'll show you something to make you change your mind. In the all-night cafe at 11:15, same old man sitting there on his own, looking at the world over the rim of his teacup. Each tea lasts an hour, then he wanders home alone. So how can you tell me you're lonely, and you say for you the sun don't shine? Let me take you by the hand and lead you through the streets of London. I'll show you something to make you change your mind. And have you seen the old man outside the Seaman's Mission? His memory faded with the metal ribbons that he wears. In our winter city, the rain cries, little pity, one more forgotten hero and a world that doesn't care. So how can you tell me you're lonely, and you say for you the sun don't shine? Let me take you by the hand and lead you through the streets of London. I'll show you something to make you change your mind. I'll show you something to make you change your mind. song by Ralph McTell, as I said. Song was written in 1969. Parts of London, just like parts of Pennsylvania where I live, or Washington, D.C., where I was a couple times over the last month, Boston, New York, Philadelphia. It's all the same. We have to remember we're all one big family, especially this time of year. And that's a great song to remind us of that. Well, here's a wonderful song. It's kind of a new song, and it's a farmer's song, but it's not, and I know tons of American farmers' songs, but when I heard this one from Scotland, written by a member of the McCalmans, a wonderful Scottish folk group over there, I knew I had to learn it. Now, I can't see any of you right now, but I hope you're singing along, and I hope you're having a good time so far. But I'm going to teach you the chorus to this song so that you can help me out. The chorus goes, turn, turn, the seasons turn, children sport and play. The ploughman's first to feel the wind and the sun at the break of day. So try that with me now. Turn, turn, the seasons turn, children sport and play. But the ploughman's first to feel the wind and the sun at the break of day. Just as the sun is rising, so we must rise and plow, and go and tend the plow team that stands so still and proud. Their backs are strong as iron, but their hearts are tender and kind. And look, yoke them to the plowshare and leave the farm behind. Turn, turn, the seasons turn, children sport and play. The plowman's first to feel the wind and the sun at the break of day. His hands are hard and calloused, he keeps them straight in line. His eye is sure and steady, his team well matched and fine. The earth is hard and frosty as the mist comes from the sea. The open sky above him, the gulls for company. Turn, turn, the seasons turn, children sport and play. With the ploughman's first to feel the wind and the sun at the break of day. And when the land is ready, we'll gather and we'll sow, and with God's help and warmth, the seeds will surely grow. And when the harvest's ended, we'll gather in the grain, a bushel for the springtime, to sow the fields again. Turn, turn, the seasons turn, children sport and play. Farmers first to feel the wind and the sun at the break of day. And now the yoking's over, the long hard day is done. The horses stand like shadows in the waning of the sun. The plowman needs his rest now, for his back is weary and sore. For when the sun will rise again, he'll go to plow once more. Turn, turn, the seasons turn, children sport and play. With the plowman's first to feel the wind and the sun at the break of day. Turn, turn, the seasons turn, children sport, play, but the plowman's first to feel the wind and the sun at the break of day. The Plowman's Song. Hey, while we're in Scotland, I'm going to sing you a song written by Robert Burns. Now, Robert Burns was born on January 25th, coming up on his birth date again, January 25th, 1796. And in his brief life between 1759, when he was born, and he died in 1796. In that brief lifespan between 59 and 96, he wrote hundreds of songs, hundreds of poems, collected hundreds more, literally. Some were just fragments that have been given to us. Others he fleshed out into these beautiful works. And I'm going to sing you a song right now. It's a poem that he wrote. It was put to music. When he was writing his poetry, he was hoping to actually contribute to at least 2 different Scottish songbooks. And he did that. And he played the fiddle a bit, they say. We've read that. He owned a fiddle. And he could scratch out tunes on the fiddle. And he knew which tunes would work with whatever poem that he was working on at the time. So that's the way he wrote the songs. He wrote these wonderful poems, which are still with us, and he applied them to usually existing melodies. They could be dance melodies, they could be other songs. I'm going to sing you a song right now, which is called My Heart's in the Highlands. And I'm going back to Scotland this next summer. Bill Reed and Karen Reed and I are going to try again. This last year was difficult. We had 2 sold-out tours to Scotland. And of course, everything was canceled. All the castles shut down. The hotels all shut down. The planes were all shut down. Nearly everybody moved to next year. Nearly everybody. One tour is still totally sold out, and that's the Western Isles. But the Shetland Island tour, we're still working on it. If you'd like to be one of the few that we have room for left, please visit my website, which is just charliezahm.com, and we would love to take you next year. I've got the two tours. One is to Shetland, and one is to the Western Isles. And Western Isles are sold, but Shetlands are not. And Shetlands are these wonderful, magnificent islands to the north of Scotland. Anyway, okay, so I'm getting far afield. So when my friend Bill and I would be traveling around these beautiful coaches, I'll tell you what, every time we would go to the Highlands, you're slowly making your way up there. The ground is more and more tumultuous. All of a sudden, you're there. All of a sudden, you see these snow-capped mountains, and it is truly breathtaking. And Bill Reed, he's always kind of there. He's looking at the whole thing, and he would look out, and he would see these incredible sights. And he'd say, "Charlie, ever seen anything like that? You ever seen anything like that before?" And he may have seen these places 50 times before. But I'm going to sing this for him. I'm not sure if he's on the call or not. But Bill, this song is for you, for your love of the Highlands of Scotland, a song by Robert Burns called My Heart's in the Highlands. My heart's in the Highlands, my heart's not here, my heart's in the Highlands, chasing the deer, chasing the wild deer, following the road. My heart's in the Highlands, wherever I go. Farewell to the Highlands, all covered with snow. Farewell to the straths and green valleys below. Farewell to the forests, wild hanging wood. Farewell to the torrents and gathering floods. My heart's in the Highlands, my heart is not here. My heart's in the Highlands, chasing the deer, chasing the wild deer, following the road. My heart's in the Highlands, wherever I go. Farewell to the Highlands, farewell to the north, the birthplace of valor, the country of worth. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, the hills of the highlands forever I love. My heart's in the highlands, my heart is not here. My heart's in the highlands, chasing the deer, chasing the wild deer, following the road. My heart's in the highlands, wherever I roam. So Bill, if you're on, that song was for you. We're going to the Highlands again, end of July, into August of next year. Hopefully by that time, God willing, this vaccine will have gone to just about every place, and largely the difficult months we've had over the last several months will be behind us. I'm looking forward to going back to Scotland again. I'm going to sing a song for you right now from Nova Scotia, Canada. And it's a song that was written by two brothers in the Rankin family. And the Rankin family is a great Celtic, they do everything. They dance, they sing Scottish songs, sing Irish songs, way out there in Nova Scotia, Canada. And it's called The Fisherman's Song. And I love the song, fell in love with it when I first heard it years ago. I know I cannot see you and I can't hear you, but I will be able to see you and hear you soon once we kind of get back to the way life is supposed to be, right? So when we do, you'll know this song. I'm going to teach it to you right now. A song called The Fisherman's Song. Chorus goes, la 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 la. Try that with me. La 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 la. I'm a fisherman's son, got fisherman's ways. I fished with my father in my young days. I learned the fine craft of the fisherman's trade, just to pass to my son, so he'll do the same. The sea is my lifeline, the shore is my home. I've been to your cities, I didn't stay long. Stared at the bright lights, the dark city ways. I said, that's not for me. No, I couldn't stay. La 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 la. Well, now some days are rough, so you roll with the waves, and the living is tough, and short is the pay. We wake at the sunrise, we sail at the dawn, singing our fisherman's song. La 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 la. I'm a fisherman's son, got fisherman's blood. Whether hauling the lobster, a jig in the car. If you don't like me, well, leave me alone, and I'll go on singing my fisherman's song. La 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 la. Fisherman's song for you good folks. You know, if I had my druthers, I'd probably, when I was growing up, there were a few things I wanted to be. One was a pirate, because when you grew up on the east coast of Florida, as I did, there's always stories in the local news about pirate treasure being found or part of an old shipwreck or whatever. There was always this great romance of the Spanish galleons going off the coast of Florida in a storm, you know, long time ago. It was really romantic for a young fellow like myself. growing up to be a pirate did not work out for me. If I had to do it all over again, who knows? I would love to be a cowboy. And I'm going to sing you a cowboy song right now. It's a song that was recorded by John Denver. And I think there are some John Denver folks on this call, folks who love the music of John Denver. And I believe the song was written by Steve Weisberg. I might be corrected after the show is over, but I believe it was. And it's a song that is called A Christmas for Cowboys. And I love this song, so I'll sing it for you. Well, it's tall in the saddle, we spend Christmas Day driving the cattle over snow-covered clay. All of the good gifts given today. Ours is the sky and the wide open range. It's Christmas for cowboys, snow-covered plains. Well, back in the city, they have different ways. Football and eggnog and Christmas parades. I'll take my saddle, I'll take the reins. It's Christmas for cowboys and snow-covered plains. Well, a campfire for warmth as we stop for the night. Stars overhead are the Christmas tree lights. The wind sings a hymn as we bow down to pray. This Christmas for cowboys and snow-covered plains. It's all in the saddle, we spend Christmas Day driving the cattle over snow-covered plains. All of the good gifts given today. Ours is the sky and the wide open range. It's Christmas for cowboys, snow-covered plains. The old cowboys would sing it like this. And thanks to whoever confirmed that was written by Steve Weisberg. I think that's what I said. I might not have said that. I thought I said Steve Weisberg. I know I said Weisberg. I thought it was Steve. I know a few Weisbergs, but I think it was. I think I said Steve. If not, written by Steve Weisberg. This next song was actually requested in one of the previous Christmas concerts that I had, requested by my friend Donna in New Jersey. And I couldn't get to it then, but I'm going to get to it now because I believe she's on the call. And this is a song that is not really a Christmas song, but when I first heard it, to me, it was a Christmas song. And I imagine this song takes us to a pocket of Appalachia, a poorer place, and it's Christmas Eve. Imagine, if you will, a little girl kneeling by her bed, saying her prayers as they head into Christmas Day in just a few hours. Let's just say, you know, especially these days, maybe her mother is not working as often as she wanted, or her father might have lost his job at the local meatpacking plant or mine or whatever it is. But this little girl prays for something nice for her mother and something nice for her father. And she is modest, and for herself, all she asks for is scarlet ribbons to hold up her hair. And Donna asked for this song for her mother, Martha. I peeked in to say good night, and I heard my child in prayer. And for me, some scarlet ribbons for my hair. All the stores were closed and shuttered, all the windows dark and bare. In our town, no scarlet ribbons for her hair. Through the night, my heart was aching, just before the dawn was breaking. I peeked in, and on her bed, in gay profusion, lying there, scarlet ribbons, lovely ribbons, scarlet ribbons for her hair. If I live to be 100, I will never know from where came those ribbons, lovely ribbons, scarlet ribbons for her hair. Song called Scarlet Ribbons for Her Hair, an absolutely gorgeous song, which I think talks about the part of the spirit of Christmas, which is about each other, giving to each other, and trying to look out for those who may not have as much as you or I may have. We're at 9 o'clock. I am very happy to kind of continue going. And Agnes, I can't see you right now, but I have a few more songs on my little list of songs. And I guess all the talking that I do is kind of stretched out this a little while. So unless you cut me off, I'm just going to keep going for a few more minutes. I hope that's okay with everybody. You're already on the Zoom call. You've already got your hot chocolate or your hot cocoa. So just sit back with me and enjoy a couple songs. This next one goes out to Cheryl, way up there in Massachusetts. And the song, you can probably see this guy right behind me here. There he is, Charles Edward Stewart. Charles Edward Stewart, what can I say? He was born 300 years ago, this coming New Year's Eve in the new system. And because they changed the system. So to you and me, it's December 31st. And he was born in his father's exiled court in Rome. His father being James VIII of Scotland, James III of England, and he was whisked out of what was to become Great Britain, because it wasn't Great Britain yet, when he was just an infant. And the reason for that being his father was very much a Catholic, and he was baptized a Catholic. And certain Protestant factions in England wanted to swing England back into Protestantism. Back in those days, it was still very much an unsettled question, because there were still plenty of Catholics, but however, Protestantism was very much on the rise and had been on the rise since the time of Queen Elizabeth. At any rate, so James is raised in exile. He had a few attempts to try to win back the throne, didn't work out ever. He had two sons, Charles and Henry. Henry was the younger one by 4 years than Charles. Charles is the fellow that you read about, Bonnie Prince Charlie, the fellow who came to Scotland, just adjust my phone a bit here, came to Scotland to try to win back all of Great Britain for his exiled father, James VIII and III. And he had much Highland support. It was very much a civil war in Scotland and in England at the time, because it was father against son, brother against brother, quite literally, family members against members of the same family, throughout Scotland, as well as when they got down into England. And it all went crashing down on Culloden Moor, which is a wind-blasted moor to the east of Inverness in the Highlands of Scotland. And Cheryl and her mother Mary are very, very sweet friends who help me out when I'm in New England. Cheryl always asks me for the song, and I know she's on this call, so I'm going to sing you this song. This song is called The Ghosts of Culloden. And if you go to Culloden, you know, it's kind of like Scotland's Gettysburg. If you've been to Gettysburg, Gettysburg is only an hour and change away from where I live. But when you read the accounts of what happened at Gettysburg, you get an idea of what happened at Culloden. But it was worse there. It was much, much worse for the Highlanders who fought. It was a very sound defeat by the forces of the Duke of Cumberland, the king's son, who was sent up there to put down this Jacobite rising. Jacobite meaning following the line of James the Seventh, actually, Charlie's grandfather. Those were all Jacobites, those who wanted to see a Stuart restoration. So Cheryl, if you are on this call, this song is for you. Can you hear them? Can you see them? Marching proudly across the moor. Hear the wind blow through the drifting snow. Tell me, can you see them, the ghosts of Culloden? Many bravely fought, sadly they were slain, but they died with such pride and dignity. Their lives were not in vain. We still remember them. They came to save our land. They died for liberty. Can you hear them? Can you see them? Marching proudly across the moor. Hear the wind blow through the drifting snow. Tell me, can you see them, the ghosts of Culloden? In the mist you'll hear a lonely pipe play. Listen carefully, you'll hear a mournful cry. Swords and bayonets crash as man to man they clash. They came to fight to live, and now they die. Can you hear them? Can you see them? Marching proudly across the moor. Hear the wind blow through the drifting snow. Tell me, can you see them, the ghosts of Culloden? Can you hear them? Can you see them? Marching proudly across the moor. Hear the wind blow through the drifting snow. Tell me, can you see them, the ghosts of Culloden? Tell me, can you see them, the ghosts of Culloden? Tell me, can you see them, the ghosts of Culloden? A song called The Ghosts of Culloden for Cheryl, if she's on. Hope you are, Cheryl. I'm going to do 3 more songs. And Agnes, if you have to shut me down because of time, I totally understand. But you haven't said so yet, so I'm going to assume that we have just a little bit more time. And two of the songs are going to be songs of the season. And one will be a traditional Scottish song of farewell. And I think all of you, well, many of you, who know a little bit about Scotland or Ireland, or love the music will have heard the song that we'll finish up with tonight. So this is your 3-song warning. When I sing the last song, I'm going to ask you to raise your glass. So if you have a glass of hot cocoa, or you have some tea, or something a little stronger, feel free to raise it when I do. So this song I'm going to sing for you now is called The Friendly Beasts. Pat Huff, if you were on this call, this one is for you because I know you are an animal lover and you love this song as much as I do. This song has been translated from language to language, very old song, well over 200, sometimes some people say 300 years old. The song takes us into the manger scene. And we've all heard the songs about the angels proclaiming the good news. We've all heard the stories, of the angels talking to the shepherds, telling them to rush to this manger scene. And this song is about all the little animals. Gave a 3-song warning. I did. A 3-song warning. All the little animals in the manger scene, and they all had a gift to give to the baby Jesus. And I love this song. And if you're an animal lover, I think you will love this song too. It's a song called The Friendly Beasts. Jesus, our brother, kind and good, was humbly born in a stable rude, and the friendly beasts around him stood. Jesus, our brother, kind and I said the cow, all red, white, and red, gave him my manger for his bed, gave him my hay for to pillow his head. I said the cow, all white and red. Said the donkey, shaggy and brown, carried his mother uphill and down, carried her safely to Bethlehem town. I said the donkey, shaggy and brown. Said the ram of curly horn, gave him my wool for a blanket warm. He wore my coat on Christmas morn. I said the ram of curly horn. Said the dove from rafter high, cooed him to sleep so he would not cry, cooed him to sleep, my love and I said the dove from rafter high. Thus all the beasts by some good spell in a stable dark had a tale to tell of the gifts they gave Emmanuel. 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 Song called The Friendly Beasts. I'm going to sing a song for you all right now, which was written by one of my very favorite songwriters of all time, called Gordon Lightfoot. And he is still out there making magic. He's an absolutely brilliant songwriter, one of the best of any generation. I can't say enough about Gordon Lightfoot. I love his music, and I love the soundtrack of my life that he has given to me through song. And if you go to one of his concerts, you'll hear songs from the 60s, the 70s, hits from the 80s into the 90s. The man is a genius. He actually is a genius. And he wrote a song called "Song for a Winter's Night." Now, where I live, we haven't had a whole lot of snow just yet. Maybe up in New England, this song is a little more poignant to you because I think you got a little more than we did a couple of days ago. We had a dusting, but that's about it. But I hope you enjoy this song from the pen of Gordon Lightfoot, a song called "Song for a Winter's Night." Candles burning low upon my tabletop. Snow is softly falling. The air is still in the silence of my room. I hear your voice softly calling. If I could only hold you near and breathe a sigh or two, I would be happy just to hold the hands I love on this winter's night with you. Smoke is rising in the shadows overhead. My glass is almost empty. I read again between the lines upon each page, those words of love you sent me. If I could know within my heart you are lonely too, I would be happy just to hold the hands I love on this winter's night with you. Fire's dying now, my lamp is growing dim. Shades of night are lifting. Morning light steals across my window pane, where webs of snow are drifting. If I could know within my heart you are lonely too, I would be happy just to hold the hands I love on this winter's night with you. If I could only hold you near and breathe a sigh or two, I would be happy just to hold the hands I love on this winter's night with you, and to be once again with you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I really appreciate all of the folks who have joined the call today. And even more, I appreciate the Barnegat friends who've invited me to be part of the holiday season this year. And they've also challenged all of us to remember our neighbors at this difficult time. And if you find it in your heart that you can help out a neighbor of yours in your community, that's all they ask. And I think that will be a wonderful blessing for somebody. So Mark and Clara, you are absolutely right. The song that I'm going to sing for you, and I think you asked me for it in the last concert that I did, or maybe one of the last ones I did. You asked me for a song called "The Parting Glass." So I will sing this song especially for you and Claire down there. But I invite all of you who are on this call to grab a glass of something. I just happen to have Glenlivet 15-year-old, and it's very smooth, smooth. And I'm going to finish up with a song that is quite old. A lot of folks think it's an Irish song, but it's not. It's actually a Scottish song. And it's a song, according to the words of Robert Burns. I've been reading a lot of his letters lately, collected letters, and he talks about this song as a song of farewell. And I think that's exactly what it is. In a few weeks, we'll be all singing a song that he wrote together all around the world called Auld Lang Syne. That song was written by Robert Burns. I have his picture downstairs. It's not, actually there's one in the other room there, but you can't see it where we are. It's in my library. So I'm going to sing you this song, and I ask that you might raise your glass if you feel so inclined. And thank you very much to Agnes. Thank you to all the folks from the Barnegat Friends. Thank you for joining. And I wish you all a very, very safe and happy Merry Christmas, happy holidays, however you may celebrate. God bless you all, and I look forward to seeing you very soon. Oh, of all the money that e'er I had, I spent it in good company, and all the harm that e'er I've done, alas, it was to none but me. And all I've done for want of wit to memory now I can't recall. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be with you all. Oh, if I had money enough to spend, leisure time to sit a while, there is a fair maid in this town who sorely has my heart beguiled. Her rosy cheeks, her ruby lips, I own she has my heart enthralled. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be with you all. Oh, of all the comrades that e'er I had, they're sorry for my going away. And all the friends that e'er I had, they wish me one more day to stay. But since it falls unto my lot that I should rise and you should not, I gently raise and I softly call, good night and joy be with you all. And since it falls unto my lot that I should rise and you should not, I gently raise and I softly call, good night and joy be with you all. Good night, everybody. God bless, and I hope to see you all again very, very soon.
Thank you so much, Charlie. I personally enjoyed this very much, and I've got my camera covered. Hi, everybody. And I love a cappella. I really appreciate that you did a couple of a cappella pieces. It's my favorite kind of singing.
Thank you, Agnes. Thank you
Thanks
for
for doing
And Charlie, after almost 40 years, it's wonderful seeing you
it.
again.
Yeah,
it is
Brown of
wonderful.
Scotland, yes.
Yes, I look forward to seeing you and all the other folks, good folks on this call, as soon as we can gather again together. Until that time, stay safe. But
You
thank you
too.
for remembering me after all these months, and I do look forward to seeing you all again soon.
Thank you. Same here. Leave.
God bless everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Have a nice Christmas, Charlie.
Thank you. Thanks, Mark.
God bless.
God bless now.
That was so nice. Huh?